候補地はまず大樹の村との上下関係から川下になります。
上下関係。
そしていざという時に防衛しやすいよう川の向こう、川を占拠されないよう距離を空けます。
いざって
反乱です。
起きる前提？
可能性として考えないとダメです。起きてからでは遅いのです。
Okay, hold on. Did Hiraku just drop the word rebellion like he's planning a grocery list?
His casual tone there reveals so much about his mindset. Everyone's focused on the welcome wagon, and Hiraku's already 3 steps ahead thinking about...
But that's the thing. He's not thinking 3 steps ahead. He's thinking worst case scenario from step 1. There's a difference between and whatever this is.
So this episode opens with the Great Tree Village preparing for over 100 new residents, refugees and newcomers who need homes, food, integration into the community. Everyone's excited, practicing their welcomes, organizing supplies. Hiraku suggests building an entirely new village to accommodate them all.
And while everyone else is focused on hospitality, Sana with her tomatoes, the elders planning tours, Hiraku's quietly positioning this new settlement with strategic advantages. Bridge placement, defensive terrain, even making sure the trees are hard enough that normal people can't just chop them down.
That detail you just mentioned reveals the deeper psychology at work. That's not village planning. That's fortress design.
Here's what we're examining today. Hiraku's transformation from welcoming village mayor to defensive strategist. But I think we need to flip the obvious reading here.
How so?
Everyone's going to see this as reasonable preparation. He's got godlike farming tools. Of course he's paranoid. But what if this episode is showing us that Hiraku fundamentally doesn't trust community? That he sees as more natural than genuine welcome?
Let's ground this in what actually happens. First, we get this beautiful montage of the village preparing. Everyone's genuinely excited about the newcomers. Flo and her team are drowning in paperwork, but it's joyful chaos.
Then we get that conversation about village placement. Hiraku's suggesting locations, and initially it sounds practical. Space, resources, accessibility. But listen to how quickly the conversation shifts to defensive considerations.
And then there's the moment that crystallizes everything. When Hiraku mentions rebellion like he's discussing the weather forecast. Not if there's trouble, not in case of problems, is already baked into his thinking.
Okay, let's zoom into that exact moment, 7-Eleven, when Hiraku says rebellion. Watch his expression. See that? That's not the face of someone considering a difficult possibility. That's someone who's already gamed this out completely.
But hold on. Isn't that exactly what good leadership looks like? He's not panicking, he's not catastrophizing, he's calmly preparing for contingencies.
No. There's a difference between contingency planning and this. When he says rebellion, there's no hesitation, no weight to the word. It's administrative.
Administrative. That's actually more unsettling than if he seemed worried about it.
His detachment from that word suggests he's not seeing these people as potential community members who might have legitimate concerns. He's seeing them as that needs management.
But look at this scene. Everyone else is overwhelmed by just the basic logistics of integration. Flo's team is drowning. Hiraku's the only one thinking systematically about infrastructure, sustainability, long-term stability.
That's one read. But what kind of stability is he actually planning for? Watch what he focuses on. Right there, he's not talking about community integration. He's talking about containment. That bridge isn't for connection, it's for control.
I'd push back on that interpretation. That bridge represents shared infrastructure, shared investment. But I'll grant you, the bridge conversation is telling when combined with his casual mention of rebellion.
And that's exactly the problem. He's so focused on protecting what he's built that he can't genuinely welcome anyone new into it.
But Alex, come on. He's literally building them an entire village. He's sharing resources, knowledge, technology. How is that not welcoming?
Because generosity and trust aren't the same thing. You can give someone everything and still not trust them with anything that matters. And what matters to Hiraku is control.
Wonton men! Seibo! Tantan men! Champon men! 万能農具の力でサクサク解決する。そして途中の川には木の橋を架けた。もっとしっかりした橋の方がいいんじゃ。
あまり幅を広くすると。
それ!
The moment that reframes everything for me is when Hiraku effortlessly chops down those impossibly tough trees. Everyone else struggles. He makes it look like nothing.
Oh, that's brilliant. Because it's not just showing off his power, it's showing how isolated that power makes him.
His unique capabilities create this unbridgeable gap. He can do things no one else can do. He can see threats no one else sees because he has capabilities no one else has. That gap, that's what breeds the paranoia.
Wait, actually no, I think you're giving him too much credit. That scene isn't about isolation creating paranoia. It's about power creating contempt. Watch how casually he demonstrates what they can't do.
Contempt. That's harsh. But I can see it. He's not afraid of them because they're dangerous. He's planning for rebellion because he assumes they'll want what he has and can't earn it themselves.
And that assumption, that they can't be trusted to earn their place, that's what poisons the whole enterprise before it starts. Alright, predictions. Based on what this episode established, I think we're going to see Hiraku's trust issues escalate. By episode 3, he'll implement some kind of surveillance or monitoring system for the new village. Not openly hostile, but observational.
I think you're reading too much paranoia into practical planning. My prediction? Hiraku's defensive preparations will actually prevent a real crisis. Someone, maybe external forces, maybe internal discord, will threaten both villages, and his infrastructure will be what saves everyone.
But that's exactly the problem with your read, Jordan. You're assuming his paranoia will be validated. What if it isn't? What if his defensive mindset creates the very conflicts he's preparing for?
That's actually terrifying. The idea that his preparation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Hold on. If you plan for rebellion from day one, you're not building a community. You're building a prison with better amenities.
Okay, I'll accept that as a possibility. But I still think someone who's built what Hiraku's built has earned the right to protect it. So our thematic question, is Hiraku a pragmatic leader or fundamentally distrustful? This episode suggests he's both, and that's the tragedy.
No, I think this episode proves they're mutually exclusive. You can't build genuine community while planning for its betrayal. Hiraku's chosen control over trust, and that choice will define everything that follows.
And the really unsettling part? He might be right to choose control. These new residents are going to see that godlike farming tool, that impossible prosperity, and some of them are going to want it. The question isn't whether Hiraku's paranoid, it's whether his paranoia is justified. If you're as fascinated by these power dynamics as we are, hit subscribe, because next week, we find out whether Hiraku's fortress mentality builds safety or creates the very rebellion he's planning to crush.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like and subscribe for more anime episode breakdowns like this one.